Well, hi everyone. I hope all of you are doing great throughout the country. I know we have many athletes that are represented throughout all of the U.S., and we welcome all of you here this evening. This informational meeting will be just about 40 minutes long in total, and it's really a good way in which you are able to learn more about the different opportunities that we have at 365 Sports, and it really provides you with a lot of details that we are able to cover with everyone in the meetings that we do in our live territorial city meetings. This is actually our 34th year in which we have had various programs that have traveled. Since that time, we've had about 55,000 athletes that have participated in various 365 sports programs, and really about two-thirds of those players have been basketball players. That's kind of our DNA. My background, I used to coach college basketball. I've been involved with the organization now for over 30 years, and I first began when I was coaching at a college, and I took my own team overseas. And I'll never forget having the national anthem played in our honor, and it was such an impact for all of our players that we had, and it was just a great opportunity in which our athletes were able to enjoy, that special event. And so this evening is going to be very informative for you. We're excited to have a chance to be with you. You're going to get all your questions answered. And most importantly, you're going to learn how you can apply to be a member of this particular program. So before we go ahead and start, I am actually going to launch a poll. And we kind of do this, on any of our online meetings. Obviously, it's a little tougher because we're not able to have eye contact with each other. And the way that this event will actually transpire is all of our attendees are muted on a nationwide basis. So we are unable to hear you. And so you're not able to submit or ask questions during the session verbally. What you are able to do is you're able to submit a question that is actually through your navigation bar, your vertical navigation bar, which is your control panel. So when you're ready to ask the questions, and there's a few sections within the webinar that we allow that, you would then hit your question option and type that question in and then submit that. And we will do our best to try to answer all those questions as best we can throughout the evening. And so with that being said, we're actually going to launch a poll to everyone. And this is going to be an opportunity to kind of share, a little bit more about you and various things along those lines that I think can certainly help identify each and every one of you, because we like to kind of know what your interests are. And so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and launch this, and you're going to see this on your screen. And what it is when I am not playing basketball, what are you doing? You're either working on another part of your game. That can certainly be an option. Or you might be reading, you might be on social media, or hopefully some of you are studying and getting ready for the next opportunity with your life, and then or maybe hanging out with friends. So we're going to give you about 10 more seconds here, and you can kind of opt for your option that you have. And then we're gonna close this. So I'm gonna close this in about 5 more seconds. So certainly pick your best option, and then we'll kind of go from there. And I am going to go ahead and I am going to close the poll. And now I'm going to share with you the results. And look at this. This is great. Well, a lot of you are working on your game or hitting the academics, and that's a pretty cool thing. So you guys are all heading in the right direction, and definitely are, the kind of individuals that, we love to have involved with our program. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started, and you can see on your screen the two destinations in which we are going to be sharing with all of you that this evening is going to be either the Caribbean or Switzerland. These are the two locations in which we are allowing individuals from throughout the country to form a team and then participate on these two international basketball events. Now, within our company, we not only have individuals in which we're able to coordinate and place into a team, which is what all of you are here this evening to find out about, but we also have teams that have enrolled with us, and they are basically teams in which they put together their own groups. So these are intact colleges, intact high schools, and some of the locations that they travel to might be Australia or Italy, Hawaii, as an example. That's a little bit different. So we really kind of have two sides to that. So a little bit about 365 Sports. I shared with you, previously as we started. We're now in our 34th year. And over that time, over 55,000 athletes have participated in our programs. And one of the things that is really unique about this experience is not only do you play in a special, showcase event, but you're also going to take part in a very high level boot camp. And so one of the things that, a lot of times we get a lot of questions about what makes this special. I'm going to share more details than that with you this evening. Now, the Bahamas program is going to have about 120 traveling participants in our delegation. And what that represents is about 8 teams. And we expect about 4 boys teams and 4 girls teams in that. Our Switzerland program, we have 30 traveling delegates that will be participating, and that's going to be 1 boys team and 1 girls team throughout the country. And so, these are the 2 programs in which you as individuals will have an opportunity to be able to participate. Now, a lot of times we get questions about what makes this special and why do something like this. And obviously, you're going to meet some people right now you do not know. You will be part of a team, and within your team, you're going to have players that might be from North Carolina, from Texas, from California, from New York, and from Chicago. That is very common. And you're not going to meet until you come here. But what's going to happen is you're going to develop a relationship with them that you're going to end up being lifelong friends. And it's just recently, about a year ago, I received an email from a former participant who shared with me that her sister got an invitation, and it reminded her of her experience. And she said, "Hey, by the way, there was a former player, a former teammate of mine that I developed a great friendship with. I ended up going away to college. I got engaged, and now my former teammate is going to be a bridesmaid in my wedding." So things like that are kind of special that you love hearing about. And then, of course, as you can see, you will represent the United States in this event because our teams are the exclusive United States representative in these different events. So a lot of you may wonder how you got here. How did you get invited? And number one, you got to be able to play. You got to be good. This is not advertised. When we're in a meeting and we may have 70 to 90 different participants that are attending that meeting, I'll always ask everybody, how many of you responded to our advertisement? And not one person raised their hand. And the reason for that is we do not advertise these experiences. You must be selected. You must be identified. That's how we preserve the integrity and the quality of the teams in which we have participated. So there's only one of 2 ways you would have received an invitation. If you received that letter at home, then the only way you would have been able to receive that would be by virtue of your participation in one of the higher level exposure events throughout the U.S. So on the girls' side, we've had evaluators at the Deep South. We've had evaluators at the Heart of Texas Showcase. We've had scouts at the Adidas Nationals events, the Nike National events, the Nike Chicago event, the Atlanta Nike Championships, just to name a few, the Indy Trail in Portland, Oregon. And then if you're a male, we had evaluators at the Las Vegas event. So it would have been one of those events. And that's the only way you would have received a letter at your residence. Now, if you received a letter at your school, very different process. We have about 8 research analysts that are based in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. And really what they do, they're all identified or assigned 2 to 3 different meeting cities in which we have on a national basis. And what they do is they monitor the accomplishments of athletes in that particular meeting. They'll look at high school previews. They will look at statistics. They will look at box scores, and they will invite athletes based on those achievements. So regardless of how you're invited, you're to be congratulated because this is not open to everybody. You must be selected to be able to participate. So again, kind of what we're going to cover in this meeting. We're going to talk about these 2 programs, both the Caribbean and Switzerland, and then we're going to talk about kind of what the boot camp is and what's going to transpire during that. We'll go through the itinerary and kind of the tournament aspect and travel details. We'll, of course, discuss the program tuition, what scholarships are available out there, discounts available, fundraising, and then finally we'll end covering all aspects of the application process. So without any further delay, let's dive into this. So the Bahamas and the Switzerland are two programs. Both are going to be during the summer. You can see that the Caribbean event is August 5th through the 10th. And for all of you out there, that would follow any NCAA showcase events that you would attend during the summer. Our Switzerland program occurs if you are a female between the early period and the late period. So it works during that time span. And if you're a male, there's actually about 2 days of overlap. So again, those are the two programs that we have, and those both work pretty effectively for our athletes that are going to participate. So a little bit about the tournament. The tournament's going to be structured in a highly competitive international experience. So you're going to play international teams. They're going to be in group play that is going to be 8 teams generally for both the boys, and then 8 teams on the girls. And so you may play 2 games around robin, and then you're going to be reseeded based on how your team performs during that segment. And so you could play anywhere between 3 or 4 games. My goodness, we've even had a team in Switzerland at one time play 7 games because they did so well. It's truly dependent on how well your team does, and that's going to determine and really dictate, how far you go. You will play with FIBA Olympic rules. The rules are going to be different, and we kind of help prepare you for that as well when you come to your boot camp, which precedes every international experience. The roster sizes are maxed out at 10 players a team. You're there to play, and so we want all of you to play. It is equal playing time for roughly 95% of the games. We do allow the coaches the last 2 minutes of the game to discern and make adjustments as they feel appropriate to give their team the best chance of winning. So it's going to be very balanced, and it really gives everyone a great chance to be able to play. And then finally, within each and every event, there's going to be an opening and a closing ceremony. As I shared with athletes we've met with over the last several weeks, a lot of you have had the chance to watch the Olympics on TV, and many of you probably saw the opening ceremony, and that's really what this experience is all about. It's really about taking your game and having a chance to play your sport and taking it on a totally different level that you've never had an opportunity to play before. So a few details about our staff and who's going to be with you on this program. Number one, our head coaches are going to be announced here in just a very short time, in about a week. We have a number of coaches that are going to be involved with our program that are very high level college coaches. We are primarily involved in NAIA and as well as junior college coaches, which have the ability, based on their rules, to have access to recruitable athletes. You are all recruitable athletes because you're grade 9 and higher, and so that's an important aspect. We do have some former Division I coaches that are participating, and the only way they're allowed to participate is that they currently are not under contract with a Division I school, during this segment. And so it's not uncommon for us to have, D1, D2, or D3 coaches that might be either in between jobs or might not have accepted a new job as well. And then finally, we'll have a couple very high-level scholastic coaches. We have one coach that's been with us numerous times, and he just finished his, winning his 8th straight state championship here in our state of North Carolina at Providence Day. Josh Freiner, who's has a very outstanding, nationally ranked program. And so regardless, you're going to have some really good people involved. And that's part of our program, is to kind of get you involved and acquaint you with some, experiences that you may not be able to have at your own residence. All of you will take part in a boot camp beforehand. And just to share with you a few individuals, Gannon Baker, Damon Altizer, Michael Lancaster's been involved before, Dee Brown's been involved, John Williams has been involved. You're going to have an opportunity to, really have a chance to train with some really high-level people. and you're going to learn a lot, and that's kind of the goal as well. We'll have an athletic trainer, physical therapist on site with our programs, and then also our 365 sports staff and guides will be with you as well. We will have one executive that will travel on each and every destination. For example, I'll be going to the Caribbean program, and we have another executive that will be traveling on the Switzerland program. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and dive right into this, and let's talk about what's going to be on your first day. So regardless of whether you travel to the Bahamas or if you go to Switzerland, you are going to start with a training camp that's going to occur at the 365 Sports Training Headquarters, which is in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. We partner with an organization called Hoop City U, and so we offer year-round basketball training at our venue. And so we ask, regardless of where you are in the United States, you must be in Raleigh, North Carolina, no later than 11 a.m. on your first day of the program, because the boot camp will begin at 12 noon. And so if you are from the West Coast and California, perhaps Washington, you will definitely have to come in the night before. And so many of our athletes that are participating in our program from California will do just that. Whereas if you're on the East Coast, you're probably going to be fine to be able to come in that morning up. And so the boot camp begins at 12, and really what occurs in the boot camp is a combination of not only individual training but also team practices. So both of those types of events will occur. Now you will stay at the Marriott Spring Hill Suites during this segment. The Marriott is just about 300 yards from the 365 Sports Training Complex. And so it allows really a convenient location in which we're able to go back and forth during periods that we're able to. And again, you can kind of see the training camp format, that it's very taught in an intense environment. And so it really kind of challenges you to, get the very most out of your particular skill set. And as you can see on the screen, it's very structured. Every minute is accounted for, and every minute is busy doing work. It has to be, purposeful. And that's a big part of our philosophy, is to be able to make sure that, you are getting something out of it that you may not have back at home. This is not a recreational camp. This is a camp in which you come to train. This is a camp in which you come to get better. And that, is our investment in each and every one of you, that you will have a chance to experience that. So again, day one is going to be the same, whether you are going to Nassau or whether you are going to Europe. And so as we begin, I'm now going to cover both of these programs in detail, so you can kind of go through and evaluate these two and really find what might be the best fit for each and every one of you. So again, day two is when your international event begins. So you're going to depart Raleigh and head to Nassau. Now, regardless of where you are in the United States, again, it is your responsibility to get to Raleigh, North Carolina. That is not in part of what this program includes. That is going to be an extra fee in which you will have. You will be responsible to get to Raleigh, and then you will also be responsible for returning from the gateway in which you are assigned back to your home area. So that first day, we're going to check in to the Comfort Suites at Atlantis. That's a property that we use that borders Atlantis, and they have complete reciprocity with all of the amenities that Atlantis has to offer. And just to let you know, and I realize maybe some of you here, may have been to Atlantis before, and so you may know a little bit about what that, transpires. It is an absolutely amazing aquatic adventure. And so they have an area called the Aqua Venture Water Park. And if you want to go to that location and you are not staying on property, there is a fee that you would be charged on a per person basis. That cruise ships, as an example, charge up to $300 daily fee. That is completely included in our program. There is no additional fee that you would have. So there's a tremendous value in our program, in which you're able to really enjoy a lot of these great things, that you're able to combine intense training and basketball with a lot of fun as well. So that first night, there will be a recruiting workshop that will occur in the evening, and then there will be a tournament welcome ceremony, and that's where the Ministry of Tourism, which is a very highly dignified representative in Nassau, will be on hand and will be greeting our group. And, they do some really neat and special things for all of our athletes as well as their families who participate on the program. As we start in day 3, after breakfast each day, which will occur at the hotel, that's when the tournament begins. Now, you're going to have free time on that day 3 to enjoy, the water park and the amenities of Atlantis. The games will not begin in the Bahamas until 5 p.m. or later. And here's why. It's 92 degrees during the day. It's 83 degrees at night, and none of the venues in the Bahamas have air conditioning. So you have to hydrate. You've got to drink a lot of fluids. We're not going to start during the heat of the day. We're going to start our games primarily you're going to have games that are going to occur in the evening. And you might have a game at 6 and you might turn around and have another game at 9. And so there'll be an evening function that the coaches will plan. And then as you go into day 4, there'll be a morning clinic session that will occur. That will take place at Atlantis. And following that, we'll take you on a sightseeing tour of Nassau and have you a chance to visit the straw market. And then, of course, the games will continue that evening. So you may have, you may have 2 games on day 3, and you may have 1 or 2 games on day 4. It really depends on how you do in bracket play as you continue during that process. On day 5, again, the basketball clinic will occur, and that time it will be with the athletes that are participating in the tournament, which is really kind of a neat thing because we match our American athletes with the Bahamian athletes, and it kind of creates a great bond. The afternoon will be fairly flexible, and then the semifinals and the finals will occur in the evening. So there will be an award ceremony that occurs, and that's going to be the same as within each and every one of the program that will occur. And then finally, our last day, after breakfast, the group will depart. And we're going to have 2 gateways. We're going to have a group departing out of, through Fort Lauderdale, and another group that will depart through Orlando. And you are assigned your specific gateway by April 1st. And so that's right around the corner. And then that way you will know exactly where to make your arrangements back to your home city in which you are going to participate from. Our Switzerland program is actually an event that takes place just outside of Zurich, Switzerland, in an area called Zofingen. It has had a great run. It's now in its 23rd year, and originally was called the Nike Swiss All-Star Basketball Camp and Tournament. It's one of the largest events in all of Europe. They have about 700 European athletes there, and there will be athletes that will attend from Croatia, from Germany, from Italy, from Scandinavia, just to name a few. And so, you're not only going to have an opportunity to play multiple international countries, but you're going to take part in a really special experience as well. So again, day 2, you depart Raleigh, and you'll fly either through Newark or JFK. And of course, in this environment, you're going to fly through the night. So when you land the following day, there's going to be about a 6-hour time change. So if you land at 8 in the morning, it's going to be like 2 in the morning, back here in your home area if you're on the Eastern time, and obviously Central 1, and, if you're over in Mountain Time, midnight, and so forth. And so you're going to have a lot of jet lag. And so we're going to try to keep you going and keep you up and keep you active during that first day. So we'll do a short city tour of Zurich after we land, and then we're going to go check into the hotel. You'll have a chance to rest a little bit before dinner. And then following that, you will then have an evening court practice session. We want to get you on court, get you moving around so you can get adjusted to the time change as best as you can. On the 4th day of the program, which is, again, your 2nd day actually in Switzerland, you're not going to be ready to play tournament basketball yet because your body's still going to be tired. And so that's going to be a full day of sightseeing. We'll take you on a gondola ride up through the Swiss Alps. We'll take you on a city tour of Lucerne, where you will have the opportunity to see some of the unique attractions in which it has to offer. You'll see their wooden bridge. You'll also see their lion monument. And Lucerne is a great location to be able to purchase some souvenirs, great cafes that they have there as well. And you'll return to the hotel late in the evening. And then finally on day 5, you will then, after breakfast, depart for training. That's going to be a day of basketball. And so you're going to take part in their 3-on-3 street ball tournament, which occurs on the American Airlines courts, which are the courts that are outside, and that is actually with the Swiss Alps in the background. Now, again, the tournament games are held inside on their wooden courts. the 3-on-3 street ball tournament replicates its name. That is held outside. And so following the event, there will be an exhibition game that evening that you'll be able to attend. And then the following day, day 6, that's when the tournament's going to start. Now, again, what differs here within the Switzerland program is you very well could have a game that starts 9 in the morning, not at 5 in the evening. The 5 in the evening games only begin, and it's only applicable for the Caribbean. So in Switzerland, you may have a game at 9, another game at 12, and perhaps another at 4. And during that off time, you'll be able to enjoy Zofingen and walk around and visit some of the areas they have, shopping and sightseeing and whatnot. And so that'll be a full day that will occur. And then the following day, bracket play again continues, and then you basically play until you lose. And so the semifinals and finals will occur in the tournament, and then following that will be, of course, the closing ceremony and the awards presentation. On our final day, that'll be a day of sightseeing. And so you begin in Bern, which is the capital of Switzerland, and you will then go on to Interlaken, which is a beautiful city at the base of the Jungfrau mountain region. There's some great pictures on it here, as you can see with my cursor here. And so, just a unique city that has great shopping, cafes, and just a great day. And so we'll go back to our hotel in Zofingen late in the evening, and then the following day we will depart Zurich, and then we will follow through all the way back to our United States gateway, either Newark or JFK. So both programs are very unique, and both programs, have a lot of unique aspects in which you would be able to benefit from. So if there's anyone who has questions about just this section that we covered, again, there's more coming. So if you have a question just about this particular area, you certainly may, submit those now. And I'm going to go ahead and answer just 2, I think. Kimberly asked a question: are parents allowed to travel also? And the answer to that is yes. We will actually have a slide that's going to be on the parent aspect, and so I'll make sure that we cover that with you as well. Adam asked a question about which is the best tournament from a standpoint of competition. And Adam, actually, it's both events are good. And so, one of the things that is unique about these 2 experiences that you have 2 really different types of basketball. The teams that are in the Caribbean are extremely athletic, and they're extremely raw, but they're very, very talented. The teams in the Europe are more fundamentally sound, I would say, but you're going to have very competitive basketball at both. I will say this: in the event that takes place in Nassau, we have yet, and this is our 9th consecutive year in which we have sent United States teams to this event. And we've had good teams, but we have yet to have a United States boys team win the event. I went 2 years ago to the final, and we had an American team that was in the final with a team from Nassau. And I stopped counting at 24 dunks, and we had one of the 24. So it is very competitive, and you're going to see strong teams. On the girls' side, we have had a girls' team that has won it before. In fact, one of the girls' coaches that won that particular year, Coach Irvin, who is the head coach at the NAIA Cumberland's University in Kentucky. She was the head coach of that particular team. That's the only girls team we have won it. And ironically, she is going to be participating this year as well. So you're all going to have a great coach there. So I'm going to continue to move on. And then again, if you have more questions as we get to that, we'll certainly be able to cover those. And Gary Workman will be able to answer some of your questions that he'll be able to, send an answer to you as you are moving forward. So let's cover some important information about just the general program. First of all, I do want to address a couple things, and we do this with all of our meetings as well. And that is, you're all aware of the event that took place when UCLA traveled to China and the ramifications that occurred and what transpired. And the reason I bring that up is that your opportunity to attend this year is by virtue of the behavior and actions of the people who traveled last year, and they had an opportunity from the people who went 2 years ago. And we want athletes from the United States to have an opportunity next year to be able to travel as well and to be able to experience this. And their opportunity to be able to do that is by virtue of what you will experience this year. And so what we ask is that you respect the opportunity, that you respect the culture that you are visiting, and understand that it is they will have different customs than what we may have, and we are their guests. It is not their obligation to conform to us, and really we're their guests, and we want to make sure that we respect not only their culture but also the tournament that they have. And so with that being said, within each and every international game that you play, there will be a gift exchange. And so what a gift exchange really is a small token item in which you would be able to provide to one athlete from the opponent team in which you're playing. And so it can be something small. It should not be anything large or expensive or anything like that. Something small that is really just a token item that the games are a gesture of goodwill. And so we share that with everybody. And so you know that you're all going to play at least 3 to 4 games. Some of you may play as many as 6 or more. So you do need to have 6 token item gifts in which you would then be able to share with individuals in which you would be able to meet. And so that's an important aspect. You want to be prepared for that and be able to do that. Now, we had a question, I think Kimberly asked about parents and family members invited to participate. Can they? And yes, they can. First and foremost, about a third of our group traditionally are parents that will be able to participate on the program. And for whatever reason, this year we are seeing a much higher parental participation. Maybe it has to do with being at Atlantis and then also Switzerland. We got two pretty special destinations, but we're seeing almost 60% parental participation, or grandparents, siblings, and whatnot. A lot of families are going. And the reason I share that with you is that it allows you as a parent to participate on everything that the players have a chance to do. So all the special receptions, all the special events in which the players all have, a chance to attend, you would be able to do that as well. You would be provided with a tournament badge. And what that badge does is that gets you into everything. It gets you on our shuttle transfers. It gets you into all of our receptions that are private receptions. It gets you into the opening and closing ceremonies, which are also private events that are not open to the public. And most importantly, it gets you into the games. And here's why that's important. It's not like an AAU basketball tournament that you might pay a $15 or $20 weekend pass and get into all the games. It is typically, at least in Nassau, it is $40 per day for you to attend the games. The nice thing about parents that come in our package, you have this badge, and the badge gets you into everything free of charge. So it is a huge advantage in that area. And so parents, you are welcome to participate. A lot of times we get asked, what do we do during the training camp? Because the training camp is going to take place in Raleigh, and what exactly we do while my daughter or my son is training. And we are in the unique location in which we are in the heart of Basketball Haven, and that's where we are right next to Duke, as well as the University of North Carolina and NC State. And so we take all the family members on a tour, and we take them over to Duke and let them experience the Duke Chapel, as well as go into Cameron Indoor Stadium. If the coaches are in town, they come out and they greet our parents. We'll take you over to the Dean Dome and let you see at the University of North Carolina and go on Franklin Street. We'll typically, take everyone into Raleigh and have a chance to go to NC State, and usually we'll stop at one of the best malls in the area too. So again, it's a great opportunity for our parents to enjoy the day while the players are training. And I know there's going to be a segment of parents that will want to watch the training, and that's fine too. You really kind of have the option to be able to do that, but it does give you a couple options in which you're going to be able to enjoy. You're just not sitting around in a hotel room. You're going to have something functional that is going to allow you to participate as well. The next slide covers safety, and that's really our first and foremost number one priority. And we are going to be there with you. Number one, the locations that we are chosen, these are locations that we have traveled to for many, many years. And our staff is going to be with you, and your safety is by far our first and foremost priority. And so, in addition to that, we do have a travel services team, and they are on call 24/7. 24/7 for you. And so if there is an emergency that occurs, you will be able to call our 24/7 answering service. They then page us and we jump right on whatever emergency there may be. So if you need to reach your son or your daughter internationally, we will be able to get in touch with them very quickly. And so we're very proactive in that particular area. And again, this is not our first rodeo. We've been doing this now for 34 years, and it allows us an opportunity to be able to best service you throughout it as best as we can. As we kind of move along, you'll see on your screen, you all are required to have a passport. And within that being said, a passport is required whether you're going to Nassau or whether you're going to Switzerland. And so it takes time to get that done. Once you make application to our program, you need to submit your application. You need to start applying. If you wait until May, you are going to be mixed in with a group of 170,000 other United States students that are going to be traveling internationally for educational travel this summer. So what happens are these passport agencies, instead of being able to turn your passport around in a 4-week time span, it then becomes a 12-week time span. And to get it back in time for your trip, you're going to have to expedite and pay additional expenses. Now, you don't have to do that. You just have to plan ahead, and you need to initiate your application very quickly so you are able to do that. I just want to mention very quickly a couple things about trip cancellation insurance. And this is something in which we offer. It is an opportunity in which you certainly may, choose to do it if you want to. It is not offered by 365 Sports. It is offered by Travmark Insurance, and we extend that as an opportunity for all of our individuals to participate with that. And so with that being said, what the insurance provides is, for a fee, there are about 18 different reasons in which you would be allowed 100% of whatever monies that you would pay in, you would get that back. So if an athlete were to get injured and not be able to play, or if an athlete were to become ill and not be able to travel, if a parent were to lose their job, or if a parent were to take a new job in a new city and have to move, all of these are just one of the many different reasons that they are able to, be able to receive 100% of that back. And what we have is an additional benefit called Premier Plus, and that allows you to cancel for a reason that isn't one of the 18. And if you do that, you still get 75% of your money back. So we will send all this information to you. We have to tell everybody about this because if you do choose to protect this, you have to do it within 14 days of your actual registration or your application, your acceptance into the program. And if you try to do it, you try to add at a later time, you're not able to add. So we'll send all this information to you. And if it's something you want to pursue, you certainly may. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. It's just something that we let everybody know. So with that being said, if there's any questions about some of the general information that we just covered with everybody. So again, not something about an area we haven't covered yet, but just about the whether it be the gift exchange or whether it be the passport processing or anything along those lines. Is there any information there that we have? And I'm just going to look at a couple things. Cindy asked a question. Do we also pay for our way home from Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, or just to North Carolina? It is, again, a 2 one-way trips from your home city to Raleigh, North Carolina is one way. Included in the program is a trip, your airfare from Raleigh, North Carolina to Nassau, because I can tell your question based on the gateways has to do with the Nassau program. And then it will return to the gateway that we are utilizing, which will either be Orlando or Fort Lauderdale. So you would make arrangements from, again, your home city to Raleigh on the start of the program, and then your return flight from either Orlando or Fort Lauderdale back to your home area. And you will be notified what that location is by April 1st. So as we go on, I'm going to continue to go on because I think probably the most important aspect is going to be coming up, and that's going to be the program tuition, as well as options that you have to be able to fund your program. So there's really three ways in which athletes that have participated in the past, are funding that. And one is in fundraising. You don't have to do it. It's certainly an option that you can. The other is going to be scholarship opportunities. I'm going to discuss that here in a moment. And then the resources that are going to be available, which is a fundraising booklet, as well as a program brochure that's going to be available for you. And following this meeting tonight, I will be emailing to each of you a fundraising booklet and other supportive information that you are going to have in order to submit the application for the program. And so let's first talk about what scholarship opportunities are out there. Well, first of all, we have an annual sponsorship from Marriott. And that started about 8 years ago, in which one of the vice presidents from Marriott, I was coaching their particular daughter on a nationally based exposure team, and the relationship became enhanced, and so they became involved in it with a financial amount about 4 years later. And for the last 4 years or so, we have had a strong relationship in which they have provided some monies available, in which we've been able to in turn utilize for a lot of our participants that travel. And so right off the gate, we have been able to allocate a certain amount per player and per parent based on our expectation of 120 total individuals traveling to the Bahamas and 30 individuals traveling to Switzerland. So every single one of you has an opportunity to receive a $200 discount from these Marriott sponsorship dollars. Now, in addition to that, there are 3 different scholarships that are offered as well. One is called the Marriott Ambassador Award. It is presented to one person. It is not necessarily need-based requirement. In other words, you don't have to submit tax returns on it, but it does require you to submit an essay. And so the scholarship is actually on our website, the scholarship opportunity. However, the scholarship group does not consider a scholarship opportunity until after an individual is both applied and accepted into the program. In other words, you cannot apply for a scholarship before you've been accepted into the program. You have to apply first. And then after you do that, then you may submit an application for a scholarship. Now, in addition to the one Marriott Ambassador Award, which is a $1,000 scholarship, there are 2 $500 scholarships. One is called the Michelle Flanagan Memorial Award, and the other is the Hal Wardick International Impact Award. And so these are going to be awards that are going to be allocated, in which every individual has an opportunity to register for. So all of you, regardless of your personal situation, should definitely make application for one of these scholarship opportunities out there for you. It is free money. Now, this does not take into account the free program in which we are raffling off by your RSVPing for one of our meetings. As you read in your letter, we are giving away one program to the Caribbean. Now, that is something in which is separate and apart from our Marriott Scholarship Awards. And we will be drawing that one individual here at the end of this month for the free program. So one of the things that we suggest to all of you, and this is something that I am going to be sending to all of you here at the close of this presentation, and that is going to be a fundraising letter. Now, you'll see a sample here in which we have been utilizing and sharing with people since this young man shared it with us in about 2002. And what he did was he wrote a letter and he customized it specific to his program. And so we're going to share this exact same letter and his exact campaign with each and every one of you. So you are able to create your own letter, customize it to your particular need and particular program, and then you can then follow the game plan that he put together. And so as you can see at the top here, it says make a list. And all of these that are listed on here are ranging from different individuals that would follow his athletic accomplishments to businesses in which he and his family have supported, where they got their haircut, as an example, where they banked at, where they purchased groceries, and then service organization, Kiwanis and Rotary, involving their church. And churches love to, get behind one of their congregation members and help them raise support in endeavor. In fact, it's very common. I would say probably over 20 to 25% of our travelers that have participated in the past have had some type of church activity in which they've either done a fish fry or a barbecue or something along those lines, in which they've been able to support a particular young person from their congregation. So, when you're finished with this meeting, sit down with your parents and talk with them. And talk with them about different opportunities in which you might be able to create a list. And again, all of this is going to be coming to you via email. And so this will kind of help with that step-by-step process. Now, what we really suggest is that the first 60 days, you use your fundraising letter. And we have had athletes raise as small as $250 to $300, which the person didn't do very much to do that, to another who raised over $7,000, who ended up traveling to Australia, which is a much more costly program because obviously the airfare itself is around $3,700, and then they were gone for about 14 days. And so, it's very, very easy to do, and it works provided you follow the program as these young athletes in the past have set it out. So the first 60 days, you would use that fundraising letter, and then you would pick a couple events from the booklet that we're going to be sharing with you. Now, the fundraising booklet is an 11-page booklet which will list various activities that you can do as a fundraising, event, and really kind of help raise your goal until you've kind of finished reaching your final number that you would like to be able to do. And so again, with the process, you can see the different events that you have, where it be a fundraising letter, different types of events and things like that. So we are going to now go through specific things on the application process. Now, the first thing we get asked a lot of times, will it help me get a college scholarship? And there is absolutely no doubt it does. Let me explain to you why. Number one, we send out to every single college coach in the country, head coaches, assistant coaches, Division 1, 2, 3, NEI and junior college, all of the athletes that are participating in our program. So they know that. We do have a reputation nationally amongst college coaches, and we do make sure that they know athletes that are participating. Just in the last 3 years, I've just listed some of the major universities from that players have gone on and are currently continuing, playing at these institutions. And it doesn't even take into account the Division 2, 3, and NEI schools in which athletes have participated. One of the things that we do is in the boot camp and the training combine that we run, which is your first day of the program, we stream that live to college coaches, and we make it in a way in which they do not have to pay. It's a free service in which we provide to all of you. And so it allows college coaches to come in and be able to watch and evaluate and watch you work and watch you train. Because when they go to these exposure events, they can watch you play for 4 to 5 minutes at a time, and it's up and down and up and down, and they're trying to make decisions to whether you can fit into their program. Here's what they don't know. They don't know your work ethic. They don't know if you're coachable. They don't know how you receive instruction. And that's one of the things that these boot camps really do. And so that's a really a neat aspect of that. So how do you apply? Here's how you do it. Number one, this at the bottom, you must go to 365sports.org/apply. That is a hidden link in our website. You need to make sure you write that down. 365sports.org/apply. And the reason we hide it in our website is we do not want somebody that is not invited or selected to participate to go in and apply for the program. Now, we obviously reconcile that with our invitation list, so we would catch that, but we want to make sure that we are not having athletes or families stumble across an application page and be able to apply for the program. So you can either mail that application, you can fax that application, or you can apply online, which is what 99% of the families do. You would be required to submit two references. One needs to be a character reference, and the other needs to be a coach or skill reference. Now, the character reference needs to be either perhaps a minister, a teacher, a neighbor, or someone that knows you well. The coach reference can be either your current coach or a previous coach. And these references are required. A lot of times we get asked, is there a tryout? Well, to be truthful, your tryout is the selection process to get invited to the meeting. That's how you are able to participate. What you are now being asked to do is provide these two references, and you cannot be declined by your coach reference, whereas the character and integrity reference, you could be declined if information would be provided that would be detrimental and be a concern for us being responsible for you 5,000 miles away from your home. And so as long as your references are fine, and specifically as long as your character reference is fine, you would be allowed to participate in the program. So let's go through specifics on the net cost now. And I'm going to leave this slide up, and then I'm going to bring up the specific things that we're going to be sending to you and that you're also going to be able to see that we hand out in the meetings. The program cost for an athlete is, again, it is based on triple occupancy. Our program is based on athletes staying with their teammates. They are required to stay in room with other athletes. We do not permit an athlete to be accommodated with adults. We have adults accommodated with adults. We have athletes staying with their teams, so the teams do stay together. Now, you're going to be on the same floor, and probably we could even set it up where a parent can be 1 or 2 rooms away from where their athlete is, but it is going to be based on that. And so an athlete triple occupancy is $19.95. If an adult goes on the program to the Bahamas, it is $16.95. And that is based on 2 people in a room. The $300 difference is primarily that an athlete has a gear package available. They are getting a USA uniform, which they keep. They also get shoes in the program. And then, of course, there's a participation fee for the tournament, just like you would any other fee, except it's obviously much higher over in Nassau. And so, again, it is $16.95 for a double occupancy or twin occupancy. If, let's say, 3 people from a family were to all participate, and that is separate from the athlete, because the athlete is always a separate fee. So that is $19.95. But if there's 2 adults and another sibling that goes, then everybody's price drops a little bit accordingly. And that is included with the $200 Marriott discount applied. And so the Switzerland fees are listed here for you. An athlete's price is $36.95 and an adult price is $35.95. Now, just so we are clear, I am down to my last 5 spots available for Switzerland. We have had a very strong participation, and we actually have a total of, we have more than 30 in our delegation right now. However, I have a total of 5 roster spots for basketball players remaining. So if you are thinking about this program, this is something you will need to act on very quickly. You probably do not have 10 days to decide to register for that program. It's something you will need to do much sooner than that, because we just had our meetings this past weekend in Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. And the week prior to that, we were in the Midwest and had meetings with Chicago as well as Indianapolis and St. Louis. Their deposit due date is this Friday. Our Philadelphia and Washington group is going to be next Friday. And so, we are down to our last select spot. So I just want to make sure everybody is aware of that. The deposit is due by March 16th. And there is a $200 fee per individual, basically per seat. If it is an athlete fee, it would be, $200 for just the athlete. If an adult and an athlete is going to be participating, then that would be, again, 2 of those deposits. So I just, sometimes we get questions on that, and I want to make sure I clarified that with everybody. So I have on the screen now what we refer to as our contracts. And this is what we distribute at the meetings, and this will be what I will email to you later. This shows you exactly everything that we've covered, the dates of the program, the costs, the air travel that is provided, the transfers that are listed. Basically, everything that is included in the program is referenced for you. And as you can see, the program cost is broken down really into installments. And it's spread out in a way that's generally about 3.5 weeks apart to allow you opportunities to fundraise. And so that's an important aspect because all of you, may want to do that. And so it gives you an opportunity to do that to help you reach your goal. And so in addition to that, you also have the Switzerland program contract. And this also shows in a very similar way everything that is included and broken down into installments to allow you that opportunity to fundraise. I am going to bring up for all of you what you basically have an opportunity to register for. And within that, you can see that the application, this is the 365sports.org/apply page. And this kind of talks about what the application is, but this is what you would hit. You would hit the registration link right here. And then when you do that, then that would take you to the registration page. And on that registration page, you would fill in your athlete name, which is here, your first and last name, other information that is applicable. And this helps us balance out the rosters. You would list which program you were opting for. And so then you would list also all parent information, because we require that the email addresses be parent email, your mailing address, of course. And then if you are a parent that is participating, this is where you would put your information. You would have to list both your first, your middle, and last name exactly as it appears on the passport and your date of birth. And we require this for every single person traveling. If you have a family of 3 in addition to the athlete, you would use these 3 slots. And again, it would be a $200 deposit per individual who is going to participate on the program with that. And so let's again go through what that application checklist is going to be. And so you are required, I don't know how I got there, but let me go back. Sometimes this does that sometimes, and it knocks me out of the middle. Let me just go on down to where we were, and then you'll be able to see that. But you are required to submit, again, after you apply, 2 references. And we do not want those references to be submitted until after you submit your application. And then once you do that, then you would be able to have those references sent. And then if you have more questions that we're not able to answer tonight, I want to make sure I gave you my email. And this comes direct to me, and I will be the one that would more likely respond. And that would be rik@365sports.org. You need to write that down or take a snapshot of it. Again, rik@365sports.org. And you can also reach Gary Workman, who is our National Account Director, who is also here on the webinar with me. And his email is Gary, which is Gary, @365sports.org. Now, once you have applied, basically what happens is you are going to get a receipt of application via email. And then we ask that you have your references submitted. And once they are submitted, then the selection group will be able to review your application, and then they will evaluate your references and provide recommendations of either acceptance or decline into the program. If you are accepted into the program, then you will have additional information that will be forthcoming. If you are declined in the program, then at that point, we would then return any initial deposit that would be sent as well. And so all of this information is going to, again, be required. And this is something that we, request. So with that being said, this is a good time for all of you to go ahead and submit questions that a lot of you may be thinking about. And it gives you a chance to, ask us questions that you might have. And I'm going to try to take several here. So, because a lot of you may have the same question. So there isn't any such thing as a bad question. So please feel free to ask it as best you can. And, we're already getting some coming in. And Heidi asked a question, can I room with my friend/teammate who is also wanting to attend? And the answer to that is yes. Now, there isn't a place on the application in which you can, put that, but once you apply and once both of you have been accepted, you can then go ahead And just submit that via email, and we will make sure that we are able to not only put you on the same roster, but also you'll be able to room together at your destination. And so that's something that always is a good thing going. And so that's a great question, because I know a lot of people may have that. Brianna asked a question, so we apply, but it isn't guaranteed. Well, as long as your references are fine, you will be allowed to participate. Again, the tryout is really getting you to these meetings. And then once you have that, then you will, you're admitted into the program, to be truthful. But if your character reference comes back and it would have some type of negative aspect with that, that is really the only way in which you would not be allowed into the program. But as long as your references are fine, then yes, you would be allowed to participate in the program with that. Samantha asked the questions, what is the likelihood of being able to attend the Switzerland tournament with only 5 spots left? It's a very valid question. To be quite truthful, at this point with that program, it is the first come, first serve. It very likely will fill, and we will begin a waiting list before this March 16th deadline. However, you are able to make application for that program really beginning this evening. We do have ample opportunities in Bahamas, so you're fine until the deadline, in which we've given you March 16th on that. But if you're interested in the Switzerland program, you're really leaning in that direction. It's probably something you're not able to wait very, very long on. Kiera asked a question, can you please tell us the turnaround time to be accepted or declined? And really, that's dependent on you, Kiera. It really depends on how quickly you were able to get us your references. Provided that your references comes in a timely manner, it's usually 3 to 4 days after an application is received. They work on it very quickly, and really, it's that's the time span that it has been thus far with all the meetings we've had on a national level. It's easily been about 2 to 3 days. So it's worked out well. Sarah asked a question: is there a reason why an athlete would not be accepted? Well, yes, there are. And again, it's as I said in the presentation, in the character reference aspect, if their character reference were to provide detrimental information about the athlete that would create a concern for us, then we would not allow that individual to participate, and we would encourage them to register or to re-enroll at another time, perhaps the following year. Sadi asked the question, how will we get the references to you? Well, again, one of the reasons that we require everybody to place the adult email into these webinar invites, no different than what we do in our live person meetings, is we will send to you following this meeting, and it'll be late this evening or early tomorrow morning, but you will receive it. You will receive the reference links. One will be a character reference, and one will be a coach reference. And you would then forward that on to your particular references that you would like to have on your behalf. And so, again, it is important to apply early and apply quickly, so that way we're able to maximize that as best we can as well. Okay. One family, Hank asked a question, we are looking at our entire family attending. Can we all share the same room? And the answer to that is yes. Obviously, the athlete is going to be with their teammates, but the remainder of the family would all be in a room together. And so we have had, again, these are suite accommodations that are occurring in the Caribbean at Atlantis, and at the Switzerland program. If we have families that are traveling, then they will do their best to make sure that they are able to have them all accommodating and staying there together as well. We have a question that says, can our character references be from a teacher? And the answer to that is yes, it can. That's a great character reference, because whether it's a teacher, a minister, a neighbor, someone that knows you well, those are all that would be able to occur. Kyle asked a question, what is a discount that would be applied for both parents to attend with the athlete? Again, not knowing the specific program you're interested in, Kyle, the discount is already reflected on the price that we showed you. That includes the Marriott discount. So if you're looking at the Bahamas, an athlete price is $19.95, and the adult price would be $16.95, which allows the adult complete access to everything in which you would be able to participate. And so that is all going to be available for everybody during that time. Brianna asked a question, can you apply for the scholarship? You can, but not until after you apply for the program. So the scholarship program, you know, if a scholarship request comes in and it doesn't match up with an individual that has registered and been accepted, then the scholarship application is discarded. So it is something you need to wait until after you apply. Once you do apply, then yes, everyone, all of you here should make application for the program because it is based on your essay and it is based on the quality of that. And so we have another question again about deposits for the program, and they are due within a 10-day period, which is going to be March 16th. All deposits are required to be due by that time. So again, I think our questions are slowing down. If you do have more questions after the event tonight, then you certainly may send that to me. Again, my email is Rick, and it's RIK@365sports.org. And if you prefer, you may also send to Gary. And Gary's email is Gary, Gary, @365sports.org. So again, on behalf of 365 Sports, we are thrilled to have so many of you nationally. We've had well over 160 that registered for this webinar. So we're thrilled that so many of you have taken part in this evening. And I know that all of you have a lot of decisions to make when it comes down to what you're going to do with your time this summer. But I can tell you this. This is a unique experience that you're not only get the most incredible basketball training event that you're ever going to take part in, but you're going to do it while playing your sport in an international experience that is unparalleled. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And so we're excited to have all of you hopefully participate. If you do have questions, don't hesitate to let us know, but we encourage you to apply, and we look forward to a great summer with you. So on behalf of both Gary Workman and myself, again, my name is Rick Seymour from Raleigh, North Carolina. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. Have a great week. Take care.